True Crime Society podcast contains adult themes and violence and is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. And if you'd like to skip the intro or move to any specific part of the podcast, please refer to the timestamps listed in the episode description. Thank you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of True Crime Society podcast with Stephanie and Olivia. It is August 9th, 2026, almost 9 p.m. in New York. I was just saying on Patreon, I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling very rageful today, full of hate for no real reason, but I think it's powering me through. That being said, I have some comments I want to make about, I'm just going right into it. I have some comments I want to make about the Lindsay Clancy stuff. I was thinking like maybe I should save it for when we do an episode, but like I don't know if you're getting it too, but so many people have messaged me, texted me, or asking me about my thoughts on the Lindsay Clancy case. One, I'm like, we have a whole podcast episode on it, but I guess it's good for me I have different thoughts now, obviously, now that I'm a mother as well, that I didn't have back then, or I just like haven't lived through postpartum back then. So now it all just like hits closer to home. I wanted to say, I do not think that Patrick Clancy killed the children and set her up and threw her out a window or whatever other crazy things people are saying. And I think it's so ridiculous and I'm sick of it. I don't want it in my algorithm anymore. I don't want to see it for another second. I think it's ridiculous and I think it's distracting from the real issues at hand. I think it's fucking stupid. And I think that people are I just said this like same thing about, we talked about Emily Kaiser on our Patreon episode. I think people just are like thriving in this like weird community and just getting clicks and likes and downloads. And I've just seen so many gross videos about it. And this is the type of behavior that makes me just like not even want to be part of like the true crime. I don't know. It feels dumb to say true crime content creators. Like we're podcasters. I'd rather just be like, I'm a true crime podcaster. But like you see things online, like I sent Olivia a screenshot the other day. It was like this comment if you think he did it. Like this comment if you think she did it. It's like 3 children are dead. Like what are we doing? Again, we've lost the plot. And I did post about this on my Instagram story, and this was like the most liked and responded to thing that I've ever posted. So it was really nice to see that there are a lot of people who have a brain and aren't just lost in this like echo chamber of nonsense. So I'm just going to read out what I wrote because I'm much better at writing than speaking. So I'm just going to read it quickly. And this is my statement on it. So I wrote, people keep asking if I think Patrick Clancy killed the children and set up Lindsay. I don't, and I find the whole conspiracy theory annoying, to be honest. In parentheses, I wrote, this isn't to say that I think Patrick was a great husband, because he definitely was not and left Lindsay to struggle on her own with the kids while she was begging for help, but that's not the point I want to make. I think part of the reason these conspiracy theories have taken off is because it's easier for people to believe that there's some big cover-up versus accepting the reality that a mother can become so unwell that she harms her own children. If we'd rather distract ourselves with conspiracy theories instead of confronting postpartum mental health, the lack of support for mothers, and how much is expected of them, then we've kind of lost the plot. Those are conversations that could actually make a difference and prevent this from happening in the future. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm sorry for the people I'm like insulting right now if you do think that Patrick Clancy was involved or like you're caught up in it. I do see how it's easy to get caught up on it, and that's what's like frustrating to me because it's like fun for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People think it's like fun, like they're getting enjoyment out of it. And that's what makes me so like off put about the whole thing.
Just to preface, I am sick today, so that might be why I sound a bit awful. But I have been following it too. We've got a blog where I try and update it daily. Like I do end up doing the daily updates, even if I don't quite get to it that day. It's every few days. So we've got video on there if you want to watch the whole day. Anyway, so every day I've been following it. It is interesting, but I just feel personally the points that these people are bringing up and running with about why Patrick could be guilty are points that are easily explainable. Like one of them, for example, was Lindsay's DNA wasn't found on the exercise bands, but if you look into it, Patrick said that he tried to get the bands off the kids, so his DNA was found on it, but the bands are latex, so that type of material doesn't often hold up DNA. Wasn't that her
Yeah, you
DNA
could just
wasn't
wipe it.
found on it? It just wasn't able to be discovered. There's another thing that people have been harping on about is that he apparently sent an email when he said he was out of the house, but he could have sent it from his phone. I don't know. Like, I feel like there are things that seem strange, but if you look into them, there's reasonings that could explain them.
And with so many, I was just gonna say, with so many cases we've covered, there's so many like strange little instances that can't be explained throughout the day, like just day-to-day life. Like not everything is picture perfect.
And I feel like too, because this case is live streamed, so some people are sitting there for 7-8 hours a day watching the whole entire thing. So when they see something interesting, they'll pick up on it and run with it. Whereas if it wasn't live streamed and we were just getting the daily updates, a lot of these things probably wouldn't even be mentioned by the media. They're just kind of, you have to pick out the main things. But now, because people have access to this trial nonstop, they are running with things. When you were talking, I was just looking up to see any of them. I'm trying to remember if there's any other things. So I think we're at day 9. Tomorrow will be day 10. But this is an interesting Reddit post I found, and it says basically this person saw a TikTok poll that had 63,000 votes on this poll. 91% of the voters said Patrick is guilty. 3% said Lindsay is guilty. 6% said Lindsay is over-medicated and is guilty. So essentially, let's say 10% say Lindsay did it, 90% say Patrick did it. That is crazy to me.
Well, it's also like, I think half the people involved aren't actually paying attention to the trial. They're just seeing these fucking TikToks.
And I know there's all this speculation that her lawyer has this kind of plan and is going to prove that it was Patrick and all this stuff. It's just, I don't know. I think
Lindsay signed off on a piece of paper saying that she fucking did it. And I get that people are like, oh, he tricked her, he manipulated her, so she believes she did it. It's like, what are we fucking talking about?
And when she was asked first, after all happened, like she wrote down, I don't know if it was a psychiatrist, I might have this slightly wrong, but someone went to see her when she was in the hospital after she apparently tried to take her life. And the first thing she said was when she was asked how she was or what she was feeling, she said horrified. Like there's evidence that Lindsay was struggling. There's evidence that her medication was all fucked up and messed up. I just, like, why would Patrick want to do this? I know there's rumors that he was having an affair with his now wife and that he went to New York right before all of this, and maybe he was meeting up with the wife and was having an affair. And we don't know any of that. It's all speculation. But essentially, if he wanted to be with her, he could have just left. There would be no reason or benefit for him to kill the children. I know people are saying that he got his, $2 million GoFundMe and he sold the house for $700,000 and he's married a doctor and they live in New York and all this stuff. But he wouldn't have known that was going to happen. He wouldn't have known that he would have got a $2 million GoFundMe or that this case was going to blow up. I just feel like surely, I don't know. I agree. I feel like he's guilty of some things, of being maybe slightly negligent and not taking things seriously enough.
Do I think he sucks? Yes.
Yeah. But do I think he killed the children? Most likely not.
And it's like, now you have me out here defending Patrick Clancy? Like, come on.
I would never, ever, ever have thought this is the way this trial would go. I just when it first started, I thought, wow, this is going to be really tragic. And I do feel sorry for Lindsay. I know she did likely she did do it. There's no argument that she didn't kill the children. It's just whether or not she should be held, responsible because of her psychological state at the time. But I just would never, ever have thought that Patrick Clancy would be the focus that he is. I guess maybe too because he was first up in the testimony. I don't know. There's a bunch of reasons for it, but it is interesting. Like when I'm scrolling on TikTok, every second post is about Patrick Clancy and about how
I know, and I'm like, get this off my fucking algorithm.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn in the case.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this forever because clearly it's irritated me, but we will do an update episode eventually. So, and I don't want this whole episode to be taken up by this, so I'll save more of my commentary on that. But I think that people just need to remember that Lindsay was a mom who was really, really, really struggling, was really trying to get help, and 3 children died because of basically like medical negligence or nobody believing women, essentially. Do I think Patrick Clancy was a crappy husband and like kind of left her out to dry? Yeah, I do. But I think that people just need to remember that this is like a serious issue, and making a circus of it and focusing on Patrick Clancy and these fucking dumb conspiracy theories is not the answer. So there's that.
Yeah, so we will definitely, people have asked us if we're going to do an episode on the trial. It was originally scheduled to go for 6 to 8 weeks. I think I did read recently they may shorten it due to some, I don't know, some formatting with the trial. But either way, it's probably going to go for at least 6 weeks. So we were thinking maybe halfway through, we might do kind of a catch-up episode so that anyone who hasn't followed and wants to follow the last few weeks can. But we are doing daily and very regular updates, so definitely check out the blog, but we will do an episode.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, we have our new Patreon subscribers. So we have Elise, Georgia, Pizza Bagel, Julia, Bex, and Elena. So thank you guys for subscribing. I'm glad that you are here for my rage-filled Patreon episode and rage-filled main episode because I feel like I'm being spicy and I feel good. So
and so our listener of the week is from Spotify again. Yoshi Senpai 777 wrote, "Love the banter as always. It's nice to get that before the heaviness of the cases. This one was especially sad, but as always, thank you for sharing and keeping their names and memories alive." And I believe that was from the Michigan murder-suicide that we covered recently, which was another horrific one.
Yeah. Thank you for the comment. Yoshi Senpai 777. So today we're gonna be talking about a crazy case. It's like we always say it's a crazy case, but this is just like reality TV almost in a way.
Yeah.
To compare it to something. It's wild. We're going to talk about the murder of Stephen Beard. I'll just leave it at that.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Celeste Beard Johnson.
It was Austin's murder trial of the century, and it all started with a shotgun blast.
My cat just jumped out of my stomach. How did it? We're out of my stomach. I'm in awful pain. How did this happen? It's nothing. I've been in a hospital,
Steve Beard was shot at point blank range to the stomach. In the dead of night, woken up in extreme pain.
He didn't know what had happened. I can't imagine the terror that he must have been going through. And with a shotgun blast, a 20-gauge shotgun blast.
Steve Beard was worth millions, and his wife Celeste was the prime suspect.
Celeste believed that if she had to stay with him any longer, that she was going to kill herself.
And she told Christina and I that she was putting sleeping pills in his vodka.
Celeste says she was framed.
I'm very misunderstood because it's like all they want to do is say, I'm the trophy wife. That's all I cared about was the money.
She had no reason to want him gone and every reason to want him to live as long as possible.
Everyone thought they knew this story, but the deeper you dig, the less certain the answers become. Austin's murder trial of the century unfolds.
It looked like the tragic death of a wealthy Texas businessman. But behind the $1 million estate was a love triangle, a secret affair, and a murder plot so unbelievable it would divide a jury and a family for years. How far would someone go for love or $4 million? In this episode, we unravel the shocking murder of Stephen Beard, a case where greed, manipulation, and obsession collided with deadly consequences. So we'll get into some background on the people involved. There is Stephen Beard. He was born on November 27, 1924 in Dallas, Texas. He attended college at Texas Christian University and Southern Methodist University. He also served in the U.S. Navy. Around 1948, Stephen married his wife, Elise. They had at least 3 children together. Stephen worked in radio and advertising in Dallas in the 1950s and 60s, and he started at the bottom and worked his way up the ladder, and he switched to television in the 70s. Stephen went on to become a television executive and co-owner of the KBVO television network, which is an affiliate of Fox in the Austin area, and this all happened in 1981. The station grew over the years, and Stephen sold his share for a small fortune. He ended up obtaining a net worth of around $12 million.
$12 million back then is now equivalent to nearly $30 million today. So even 12 million is still so much money, but yeah, a crazy amount of money.
Yeah. Elise was said to be an avid golfer, while Stephen preferred eating and drinking in the clubhouse. Before Elise's death, she and Stephen had been members of a local country club, and they had frequented, I don't know, I can't say it. They had frequented the restaurant there. They remained married for 45 years until she passed away from cancer on October 13th, 1993. Within 3 weeks of Elise's death, Stephen began dating a waitress from the country club named Celeste. Celeste was 30 years old and had been married and divorced 3 times by this point. So some background to Celeste. She was born on February 13th, 1963. She was adopted by Edwin and Nancy Johnson and was raised in Ventura County, California. Celeste was one of 4 children adopted by the couple. Celeste would later tell people that she'd been sexually abused by her father from the age of 4 until she was 12. She later said, "Do you know what it feels like when you're 4 years old? You aren't even in kindergarten. Do you know what that does to you?" Nancy was said to be psychologically unstable and was institutionalized multiple times. It's her mother. Celeste also said that she was sexually abused by an older adopted brother, and she attempted to take her life during puberty. Celeste got pregnant at the age of 17 and married another teenager named Craig Ratcher. She gave birth to twin girls, Christina and Jennifer. Just what a 17-year-old needs.
Yeah, twins with another teenager.
The marriage between Craig and Celeste was said to be tumultuous, included physical abuse and restraining orders. By 1983, Celeste and Craig had divorced, and soon after, Celeste married Harold Wolf, who was an Air Force mechanic. And they got divorced in 1991, and Celeste would say that her divorce lawyer paid for her to have a breast augmentation following the split. She then moved to Arizona following this divorce and was struggling to make ends meet. She lied and reported a car as stolen before burning the vehicle. She was convicted of insurance fraud and spent 3 months in jail. Celeste, you got a lot of time on your hands.
I know.
Celeste's third husband was Jimmy Martinez, and she nicknamed him BMW, not for the car, but for a big Mexican wiener. The marriage did not last long, and Celeste moved to Austin. And this is where she got the job as the waitress at the Austin Country Club, where she would meet Stephen in 1993. For the first date, Stephen took Celeste to an Italian restaurant called Mamma Mia's, and he treated Celeste to a nightcap at his mini mansion and allowed her to drive his $50,000 Lexus sedan back to her home. And today that would be $116,000. Christmas 1993 fell around 2 months after Celeste and Stephen had first met. He gifted her a $16,000 diamond cocktail ring, a $3,000 watch, and a new Ford Explorer. After 2 months, how lovely.
No, not bad.
He invited her to move in with him, and she did on January 1st, 1994. So things are moving quickly. In their first year of the relationship, Stephen paid a $20,000 restitution bill that Celeste had racked up for her insurance fraud. He also funded Celeste's custody battle for the twins against her husband, Craig, and Stephen would end up adopting both of Celeste's daughters. On February 8th, 1995, he and Celeste signed a prenup and stated that she would get $500,000 if they got divorced and not a cent more. But if she became his widow, she would inherit much more, around $6 million. It's like you're just giving her the motivation to murder you.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what his children would have thought about this. So they would have been grown by this point. And imagine your dad's moving in with this lady after 2 months, giving her a car. I would have been furious.
I would have been so annoyed. I would have had him institutionalized. So the couple got married on February 18th, 1995 at the country club in Austin where they met. Romantic. During the honeymoon, Celeste was said to have to administer a penis-stiffening drug to Stephen via needles, and she said that she found it kind of traumatizing. Stephen was around 70 years old at this time, and Celeste said the couple only had sex twice during their whole relationship. Once on the day she moved in with him, and once on their wedding day. Not shockingly, the marriage turned sour very quickly, and within 4 months, Stephen had filed for divorce. The main issue in the relationship seemed to be sex. Celeste did not want to administer the sex needle to Stephen, and he ended up withdrawing the divorce petition after Celeste came up with an oral sex solution. She reserved Sunday mornings for this. And so this following info is from True TV. She would tell her daughters and anyone within earshot, "I gotta go make some money," as she plodded dourly toward her husband's den for his weekly sexual service. She made certain there were no distractions, pets locked up, doors secured, phones disconnected, because she wanted Stephen to reach his happy ending as quickly as possible. And this is according to an account in Susie Spencer's book, The Fortune Hunter. Celeste loathed having to stop and begin again once she got started. So after they sorted out their sexual issues, money became their main source of tension. Stephen gave Celeste a $10,000 monthly allowance, and today that would be $23,200, which is crazy. She had 3 walk-in closets with 100 pairs of shoes. Each pair had a matching purse. She once spent $50,000 in a single shopping spree, and they went on holiday to China in 1998 for a single month and spent $100,000. There's also pictures on Zillow of a house they built together. It's very nice. I think it was worth almost, what, 5 million, 4 million?
4.5 million. It says 22, obviously this is today, 22,000 a month expected rent. It's like a lovely house. I don't know if I would think, I guess prices there are pretty crazy, but it's beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. A mini mansion is probably like, it looks like it's got some type of like Japanese or Chinese garden in the background with like a bridge and things like that. So it's lovely, but interesting.
Yeah. So Celeste had repeatedly brought up the $500,000 prenup being an issue. Stephen decided to just give her the cash. His thinking was that if she had her own money, she might spend less of his, but it's still his money. Like, what? The $500,000 was gone within 6 months. In their first 4 years of marriage, Celeste had spent well over $1 million. Stephen's accountant looked at the finances and discovered that in 1998, Celeste had spent over $300,000 on holiday shopping and entertainment. And this is a quote from an article. It says Stephen's accountant would later reveal that Celeste spent $321,000 during October and November 1999, an additional $249,000 by December 10th, and another $100,000 in the 6 weeks ending March 31st, 2000. It's like, how do you even do it?
Yeah, why? Like, I know it's easier said than done, but why was he giving her all this money?
I know.
I don't know.
So Celeste became resentful of Stephen. She called him the fat bastard or the old fool. People heard her say more than once, why doesn't he just die already? Celeste allegedly cheated on Stephen with her previous husband, Jimmy BMW Martinez. And she would leave the house when Stephen went to bed at 9:30. And she would sometimes spike her husband's food or drinks with sleeping pills to get him to pass out quickly. Stephen told Celeste that he was going to take away her credit cards, and she threatened to take her own life. After that threat, Stephen sent Celeste to St. David's Pavilion, and Celeste's daughter, Kristen, has said that the suicide threat was play acting so that Celeste could get what she wanted. While Celeste was at the facility in March 1999, she met Tracy Tarleton. As some background into Tracy, she graduated from Texas A&M in 1986 with a biology degree. She worked in a series of jobs before she found her preferred place, which was the manager of a bookstore in Austin named Book People. Tracy loved working there and would often work 60 hours a week. She felt that she worked and interacted with like-minded people. In February 1999, though, Tracy suffered a public breakdown at work. She yelled obscenities and threatened violence. Tracy's life had been troubled. She struggled with addiction, had attempted suicide, and had documented psychological problems. Her friends and family encouraged her to get help, so she also checked into St. David's Pavilion.
So when Tracy got there, she became interested in Celeste. She wrote her this note a few weeks after they met. She said, "Celeste, you are so beautiful. I think about your long, silky body and your incredible long legs, and I just can't stand it. And then I think of your incredible face, and I want to stand outside your building and wail until I get arrested. We won't even talk about what happens when I think about your sweet, tough, sexy voice." So the two began a relationship, and they were transferred together to Timberlawn, which was a mental health facility in Dallas. Tracy would later tell CBS, Celeste was extremely flirtatious with me from the beginning, and I responded in kind. Eventually, she came into my room and kissed me. She wanted to have a sexual relationship with me. So Tracy has said that the two women began a sexual relationship on March 20th of 1999, and that it continued up until the 1st of October that year. They were both released from treatment, and they both continued their relationship. Jeremy Ellis, who was one of Tracy's co-workers, told CBS, Tracy wasn't secretive. Everyone in the store knew that she was dating someone named Celeste. She spoke about her like she was her girlfriend. They were sort of physical, close with each other, and I thought, well, good for Tracy. Tracy sent Celeste love letters, and Celeste sent Tracy a birthday card addressed to the one I love. They became regular customers at an Austin Red Roof Inn, where they would obviously rent a room to carry out their relationship. Celeste's two daughters caught the two women in bed multiple times. When her daughters asked what was going on, Celeste said, "Tracy's a lesbian and she's in love with me. Isn't that funny?" Her daughter Christina would later say, "My mother has acknowledged to me that she is in a romantic relationship with Tracy and that she and Tracy have had sexual relations together. Tracy has openly admitted to me that she and my mother are lovers. In September of 1999, I witnessed Tracy and my mother kissing passionately." So Celeste told Tracy that Stephen was abusive. She said he emotionally and verbally abused her and that she feared violence if she asked for a divorce. She also said that her relationship with Stephen had left her feeling suicidal. Tracy could apparently not imagine a life without Celeste, so they began to plot together ways they could get rid of Stephen. They tried to give him botulism by making him eat a spoiled chili dog, but he ate it and he liked it. This is just
the story is so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. And I feel like, again, something that would probably not happen as often these days. Things that happened in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, just generally wouldn't happen today because of CCTV and, technology and all that. Anyway, this is crazy. According to True TV, they spiked his drinks with 190 proof grain alcohol. Then they put a plastic bag around his head when he passed out. They dusted his food with sleeping pills, and on one occasion, 10 ecstasy tablets. He survived it all. So he was over 70 years old at this time.
It's like a comedy show. Like, what are we doing?
I know. Tracy would later say he drank a lot of vodka, but she would take the vodka bottle and pour most of it out and fill it up with Everclear, which is a higher proof alcohol. Or she would take sleeping pills and grind them up and put him in his food. So at the end of September in 1999, Stephen witnessed Celeste and Tracy kissing passionately, and he told Tracy to get out. Around this time, Stephen and Celeste had a trip scheduled to go to Europe, and Celeste convinced Tracy that her life was in danger. Tracy said she came over and was just hysterical and beside herself. She said, "I'll never survive this trip. I wanted to help her." So they came up with yet another plan to try and get rid of Stephen. Tracy entered the home in the dark where Stephen was asleep. She fired a shot from her shotgun and she slipped out. When Stephen woke up on October 2nd of 1999, he discovered he'd been injured and he made a 911 call. He said, "I need an ambulance. My guts just jumped out of my stomach. They blew out. Yeah, they blew out of my stomach. They're lying on my stomach." The 911 operator said, "Okay, they're laying on your stomach." And Stephen said, "I'm in awful pain." And the dispatcher asked, "How did this happen?" He said, "It just happened. I woke up. I just woke up." The operator then went on to say, not surprisingly, "I'm having a hard time figuring out what happened." And so was Stephen. He said, "I don't know what happened. I've never had this happen before," which I know it's a horrible situation, but imagine just being the 911 dispatcher and getting this call from someone saying my stomach is basically outside of my body. You have no idea how it happened.
I mean, it must be confusing if you're asleep and you wake up.
And I wonder if they drugged him and, maybe that could have been part of why, I don't know. But so Stephen believed that Celeste was sleeping at the time in another wing of the house, and he asked the dispatcher to call her, but Celeste did not answer. When rescuers arrived at the house, they had to break a door to get inside to help Stephen. He had previously had surgery for a hernia operation, and when emergency services looked at the wound, they decided that it was likely that the operation had failed and the wound had essentially exploded. But as they lifted Stephen onto a stretcher, a deputy discovered a shell casing from a 20-gauge shotgun, and that was when the case turned from medical emergency into an attempted homicide. Stephen was flown by a helicopter to Brackenridge Hospital in Austin. Celeste and the twins were awake by this point, and they followed Stephen to the hospital in a police car. Christopher Deuce, who was the boyfriend of one of the twins, also accompanied them. Sheriff's investigator Paul Knight asked the family if they had any idea who would have done this to Stephen. And Christopher, the dopey boyfriend, spoke up and said, "How about that crazy Tracy?" Many other people also came forward to suggest that Tracy was a possible suspect. The only person who didn't really suggest it was Celeste. Detectives visited Tracy's apartment 2 days after the shooting. Detective Rick Wines told the media, "We asked if she owned a 20-gauge shotgun, and she said yes, she did." Tracy was a skeet shooter, and she agreed to hand over her shotgun for ballistic testing. The $1,000 Franchi model was manufactured in Italy, and it had been engraved with Tracy's name as it was a gift from her father. A few days later, police had their results. Detective Wines said, "The shotgun shell that we found at the scene came from the shotgun that we found in her house. 2 and 2 to me has always been 4. So on October 8th, which was 6 days after the shooting, Tracy was arrested and charged with assault. In terms of Stephen's injuries, he ended up spending 4 months in hospital, so he did survive this initial shotgun wound. His condition stabilized after he underwent 7 surgeries, but he was considered to be at high risk of infection due to the nature of the wound. When the digestive tract is perforated, the leakage can cause infections through bacterial sepsis. So Stephen ended up being released from hospital on January 21st of 2000, but he died 4 days later from medical complications related to the wound. Tracy and Celeste remained in contact for the first 9 months that Tracy was in jail. By the summer of 2000, they had broken up. Tracy said Celeste started going bananas, hysterical a lot of the time. We both said, we're not going to do this anymore. You won't see me again. Tracy was distraught and tried to overdose on Valium, but she still hadn't pointed any fingers at Celeste by this point. That was until Tracy read a newspaper article about Celeste. The article stated that Celeste had married for the 5th time to a man named Cole Johnson. They were married on July 3rd of 2000, so literally like 7 months after Stephen died and just a few days after Tracy and Celeste called off their relationship. Tracy told CBS she's offered her honeymoon in Aspen. Even I couldn't overlook that. It was like everything started unraveling very quickly for me after that article. I started realizing Celeste had been lying to me all along, that this man was not abusing her, that she had married him for his money, and that she'd been lying to me about our relationship. All of it was a farce. So Cole, her 5th husband, was a bartender and a musician. He and Celeste, as we mentioned, they married in Aspen, Colorado. Tracy called a meeting with detectives after she found out all this and told them the whole story and the whole plot that the women had derived. She said to them, I did it for Celeste. So Celeste was arrested on March 28th, 2002 and was charged with Stephen's murder. Her bail was set at $8 million after the judge noted that she'd earned $2 million from the sale of the home that she and Stephen had shared. But Celeste's lawyer said that just over 16 months later, she had only $7,000 left. I would love to know what she was doing with this money. How could you actually possibly spend so much money over the years and really have nothing to show for it? So Tracy pleaded guilty and agreed to testify in exchange for a 20-year sentence. Celeste's trial began on February 3rd, 2003. The prosecutor told jurors she couldn't stand Steve Beard. She talked to people about how she hated him. He disgusted her. What happened here is a simple case of a greedy, manipulative defendant who took advantage of a mentally ill woman who was in love with her. She told Tracy that with Steve gone, they could be together. So Tracy testified on the stand for a total of 15 hours.
What did she say about exactly how she wanted you to shoot him?
She wanted me to shoot him in the stomach.
Why did she want you to shoot him in the stomach?
Because she didn't want splatter. She didn't want a blood splatter on the wall.
Okay. Is that the word she used, splatter?
She used splatter.
Okay. Did she say why she didn't want a blood splatter on the wall?
She, at the time, was not planning on redecorating.
So she wanted to continue to be in that room but not mess it up?
Excuse me, that's 3 minutes adjusted.
Sustained us to that question.
Yes. She didn't want to redecorate and she didn't want to live with anything on the wall that would remind her of what had happened, I guess.
So after you saw Steve Beard and you were in there in the bedroom, what, if anything, did you do?
I walked to the foot of the bed and I shot him in the stomach.
She said, I just saw this woman that I loved in a desperate situation, trying to find a way to survive this man that was so awful. She had a plan. She wanted me to shoot him at Toro Canyon, which is where the house was, with my shotgun. I was willing to shoot him and I went and did it. She added that she and Stephen had been, quote, betrayed by the same woman. Celeste's defense attorney dismissed the mountain of evidence as part of the fantasy of a predatory, aggressive lesbian. Defense strategy boiled down to 3 words: Tracy is crazy. The attorney said this is a case of fatal attraction. Tracy Tarleton is psychotic. She's been diagnosed as having delusions, as hearing voices that aren't there, as seeing things that aren't there. And I feel like this is pretty telling, but Celeste's twin daughters testified against their own mother. Jennifer said she said that she married Steve for his money. Christina added she would sometimes make comments like, why doesn't he just die already? She would say that he disgusted her. The prosecutor asked the daughters, what was the Sunday suck? And Jennifer replied, Celeste giving Steve a blowjob. A recording that Christina made of a conversation with her mother was also played for the jurors. This is a quote from an article about it. It says, when the girl accused her mother of threatening suicide in February 1999, get what you wanted, Celeste screamed. I was fucking depressed, you goddamn little bitch. Imagine. It's crazy. So at the end of the testimony, the prosecutor summed up by saying, money is what this whole case is about. Jurors deliberated for 23 hours over 3 days before they voted to convict Celeste. Prosecutors chose to not seek the death penalty, and Celeste was given a mandatory life sentence. At her sentencing, family members spoke and addressed Celeste. Stephen's son from his first marriage said, I hope you burn in hell. Christina also spoke, who was one of Celeste's twin daughters. She said, you say we turned on you. Well, you turned on us. You turned on the whole Beard family. He let you into his home. He loved, honored, and obeyed you, and you violated him and murdered him. Shame on you. So, according to Texas law, Celeste must serve at least 40 years in prison. She'll be eligible for parole on April 1st of 2043. She will then be 79 years old. Celeste continues to maintain her innocence. She's done a bunch of interviews. I'll put a really long one in the blog, but I'll find a different one maybe that you can put in there about it.
Okay.
She's one of the most public killers in true crime history. Hello there.
Hello. It's nice to meet you in person.
For over 2 decades, Celeste Beard Johnson has portrayed herself as sweet.
I did everything that he wanted me to do.
Wholesome.
Everything I did was for the girls.
And above all, innocent.
I'm not a murderer, and I know that they know deep down inside that I
had nothing to do with it.
I've been rotting in here for something that I didn't do. A crime that they know that I did not commit.
But that was before Interview with a Killer. It sounds almost predatory, like you're hunting for men that you can use for your own purposes. Can I unmask this carefully curated killer?
I hated men at that point.
And reveal the truth about the murder of Stephen Beard. You knew he was rich, right?
What does that have to do with anything?
And the dark side of Celeste Beard Johnson.
I'm done with this visit, Sergeant. We're done.
You know, you realize that for you to be telling the truth, everyone else has to be
F you. We're done.
Well, not quite.
I apologize for my outburst.
2 interviews, 1 killer, and the many faces of Celeste Beard Johnson.
That's right. Done. Of course, that'll be on national TV. My mother's gonna kill me.
In the interviews, she has said that she believes she was victimized by her own daughters because Stephen's estate was split between his 5 children, which was his 3 with his first wife, Elise, and then with Celeste's twin daughters who he had adopted. Celeste said, I hate to admit it, but the only reason they turned on me was for the money. They have 2 million reasons to lie. So Tracy was released on parole in August 2011. She ended up serving 10 years of her 20-year sentence, which I feel like is a pretty light sentence for someone who actually fired the gun and was complicit. I know that they argued that she was mentally ill, but 10 years for essentially...
It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. I tried to find out what she was doing now, but she seems to be keeping a pretty low profile if she still goes by that name.
Maybe she got like a deal kind of for like turning on.
Well, yeah, she got the plea deal, which was meant to be 20 years, but she only ended up serving 10. So I don't know. I just feel like this is one of those cases that is, it's like a Netflix show. Like now you would think there's no way any of this can be true. Like this woman is spending literally millions of dollars. Her husband kind of is a little bit oblivious or, doesn't know what to do. And then she makes a plan with her lesbian lover to kill the husband so they can be together. And then she marries someone else. It's just crazy.
I wish I had a quarter of the energy that fucking Celeste had. Like, holy shit. What are you doing?
I know. It's unbelievable. 5 marriages. Sleep? Yeah.
I feel like I probably could spend that much money, but it's like, that is so much money to just be like, what is she buying?
Yeah.
I don't think I could spend that much money if I tried. I mean, like, yeah, probably, but I'd have to like try. Was she buying houses? Like, what was she buying?
Well, not that I've ever seen. Like, I know that they said that she had hundreds of pairs of shoes in a bag to match each pair, but still, I don't know. I guess maybe she was drugs and alcohol, possibly. I don't know. But even then, it's just so much money to blow.
Yeah. I just don't even know how you could spend that much money that quickly.
One other thing I found interesting was just a little tidbit. In 2011, Celeste, who now goes by the name Celeste Beard Johnson after she married her 5th husband, and 5 other inmates published a cookbook that lists recipes that can be made in prison cells with ingredients from the prison commissary code, from the big house to your house.
Oh, wow. Just what I want.
Yeah, I guess that's such a random thing to do. I guess what else are you going to do while you're in there?
Did she contribute to it?
Yeah, so there was 6 of them. It says, from the big house to your house, cooking in prison. I think she was like an author of the book.
But I wonder what recipe she contributed.
Yeah, it says the women who wrote the book are Barbara, Celeste, Seema, Luann, Tina, and Trenda. They are generously donating all profits from sales of their book to the Justice Institute and its work on behalf of wrongly convicted men and women.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. People are rating it a 5 out of 5. Great purchase. Highly recommend. Wife and friends love it.
Oh my God, I'm tempted to get it just to fucking see, but how much is it?
This is on Amazon. Oh, well, because for me, it's probably more because I'm going to show you. It's $36.
Yeah.
You can buy it on, that's 36 Australian. It's probably like 25
What's it called?
US. From the big house to your house, cooking in prison.
Let's see. Paperback is $14.95.
Oh, there you go.
You can get it on the Kindle too for $9.99.
It's funny because Kindle here is $10.42, so it's not much difference.
You can read a sample.
Oh yeah, I can see the sample now too. Here it says, this book is the result of our cooking experiences while confined at the Mountain View Unit, a women's prison in Gatesville, Texas. We met and bonded in that dorm housing only prisoners with a sentence in excess of 50 years. While there isn't much freedom to be found while incarcerated, using the commissary to cook what you want offers a wonderful avenue for creativity and enjoyment. So you can tell they've drawn all the pictures too. Like it's literally like, I think one looks like a loaf of bread. They might be like, there's one they've written, feast in a bag.
I want to look at the 1-star reviews.
There's a recipe in there for almost teriyaki soup, and this is what you need. Oh my God. This is what you need. 1 package of beef or chicken soup, 1 teaspoon of instant dried coffee, 1 package of jalapeno peppers, 1/4 cup of salsa verde chips, 1 tablespoon of jalapeno chips, 4 tablespoons of jalapeno cheese. Interesting.
I mean, I guess they're creative. Anything. If nothing else.
Funny. Interesting. Under each recipe, they've got a little fact. This one says, do you know there are estimates that as many as 15% of imprisoned people in the US are innocent of their convicted crimes?
I'm just looking at the 1-star reviews. One says, big house equals big flop, overly expensive for the amount of information. Recipes are interesting, but hardly practical for non-inmates. Very heavy social justice political agenda detracts from otherwise lighthearted approach to surviving prison. Wait, one says, does anyone else find humor in this? A convicted felon, Celeste Beard, is giving us a recipe when she was known for cooking up botulism in her former husband's chili talk.
Anyway.
How did we get here?
I don't know. I just was looking at... Celeste, as we mentioned, has done a bunch of interviews. She's, as you would expect, she's quite self-righteous, maintains her innocence, that she did nothing wrong. So yeah, we've put some interviews with her on the blog, and we'll see if we can put a few clips in. But very interesting. It is an interesting story. Like 5 marriages, married to a multimillionaire, and that has hatched this crazy plan. I'm glad that she's in prison for that long. I feel like Tracy's sentence probably should have been longer, also. But I feel horrible for his family. They lost their mum and their dad. Very sad.
Yeah. That is it for this episode and this crazy story. You can find everything on the blog at truecrimesociety.com. Everything will be there if you want to read more about the case or see any of the clips that Olivia found on it. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at True Crime Society. If you want to follow our personal accounts, mine is StephSum_, Olivia's TCS Olivia. See what we're up to, and check us out on Patreon. We do weekly bonus episodes, and all the episodes are on there ad-free. So you get 2 episodes a week from us. Plus, we have some group chats. We have an active book club chat where everyone talks about their reading, and we just share a little bit more info on there. So check us out if you want more content. Check us out on Patreon if you want more content from us. And all the usual stuff. You could leave us some Spotify comments. We love reading those. Share to your Instagram stories. We love to reshare them. We like to see what everyone's doing while they're listening to the podcast. So keep it up. I don't know why I'm struggling right now. My brain. I used all my brain power on my Lindsay Clancy rant. I'm not back. But that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out.
See ya.